In the story, there is a widow named Sarah who lives with her 2 children, Ben and Lucy. Ben is 6 years old and Lucy is 4 years old. She has recently lost her husband, Stephen, who was stabbed by an unknown person in their yard. Ben witnessed his father being stabbed by the attacker, and since that incident, he has become mute and rarely speaks. Sarah does not know who her husband's killer is, as the police have not found the murderer yet. But Sarah keeps asking the police about the case. The police only say not to be angry at them as they are patiently working on it, and they advise Sarah to stay silent until the perpetrator is caught. In her daily activities with her children, Sarah always makes sure to eat together, watch movies together, shop at the supermarket, and read bedtime stories to her kids. Sarah also always takes them to pray at their father's grave. However, each time at the supermarket, Sarah always meets a man who likes her and is quite attracted to her appearance. The man keeps asking Sarah out on a date, but Sarah stays calm and composed in response to his advances. Every night before bed, Sarah has her own ritual of using her vibrator because she can no longer be intimate with her deceased husband. One day, a man named Tito, who is a thief, is in the middle of stealing drugs from the car of Leo Miller's henchman. Leo Miller is a drug lord and nightclub owner. Tito steals the drugs by ramming his car into the henchman's car, and then runs away with the drugs after opening the trunk. In the chase by Leo's henchman, Tito suddenly hides in Sarah's house, which is not far from the theft location. Tito hides the drugs in Sarah's bathroom and tells her to stay silent and not to tell anyone. Sarah is too scared to say anything. Tito then leaves Sarah's house. Meanwhile, Leo's henchmen inform him about Tito's actions. Leo orders his men to find Tito at all costs. They capture 2 people they think are Tito's friends and bring them to Leo. Leo interrogates them, but they claim they know nothing about Tito. Believing they are lying, Leo tortures and eventually kills them. That night, Tito returns to Sarah's house to take some of the drugs. He tells Sarah that he just sold 10 packages of drugs to someone and gives her money as a reward for helping him hide the drugs. However, Sarah refused Tito's money and asked him to leave her house immediately. Tito threatened to kill Sarah if she dared to kick him out. Sarah finally allowed Tito to stay in her house. Tito then left her house. That night, Tito returned to Sarah's house to rest after a day of selling drugs. Inside the house, Sarah and Tito talked. During their conversation, Sarah asked if Tito knew her husband, Stephen Collins. Tito did not know him. Sarah also asked why Tito was hiding there. Tito explained that he was running from Miller's henchmen because he had stolen their drugs. Tito briefly recognized Stephen Collins from a newspaper article about his death and said that Stephen was also a drug dealer. Sarah vehemently denied this, stating that her husband was not a drug dealer. Tito did not believe her and shouted at Sarah, telling him to leave. Tito then left the house again. The next day, Sarah continued playing with her children at home. She drank a bottle of beer until she got drunk and fell asleep. When she woke up, she felt nauseous and went to the bathroom to vomit. In the bathroom, she tried to check the drugs hidden by Tito in the bathroom cabinet, but had forgotten to close it tightly. Realizing the drugs were missing, she went to Ben's room and found that Ben had consumed them. Sarah panicked and took Ben to the bathroom to bathe him. During this, Tito suddenly came back to the house and asked to be let in. When Sarah ignored him, Tito broke the glass door and entered. Tito checked the bathroom for the drugs and found some packages had been consumed in Ben's room. Seeing this, Tito got angry and choked Sarah, then took her to the bedroom and forced her to choose between being raped or her child taking responsibility. Reluctantly, Sarah chose to be raped. While Tito was raping her, Sarah grabbed her vibrator from under the pillow and hit Tito's head with it. Tito was in pain and choked Sarah forcefully. While being choked, Sarah saw a knife on the table and stabbed Tito in the stomach twice. Tito finally died in the bedroom. Then, 2 police officers came to Sarah's house after receiving a report from the neighbors about the commotion. The police checked the house but did not go to the bedroom where Tito's body was. The police then left the house. This was a turning point for Sarah. She decided to mutilate Tito's body to erase any traces of his death. The next day, Sarah took her children to her mother's house to be taken care of temporarily, giving the excuse that she was trying out a job somewhere. After that, she went to a hardware store to buy an axe and a saw to dismember Tito's body. At home, She covered her room with plastic so that blood wouldn't spill everywhere. When she opened Tito's package, she found a gun and kept it. She then started to dismember Tito's body into several parts, wrapping each part separately in plastic. After everything was done, Sarah cleaned the room of all the blood. She then disposed of Tito's body parts in trash bins around her neighborhood at night, without anyone knowing. The next day, Sarah picked up her children from her mother's house and took them to the hospital to consult a doctor about Ben's muteness. There, Ben kept mentioning Tito's name repeatedly, which was overheard by Leo Miller, who was also at the hospital. Leo then followed Sarah home and immediately contacted his men to join him. When Sarah realized she was being followed, she ran with her 2 children. However, Sarah was caught by Leo and his men. They asked about Tito's whereabouts, but Sarah said she didn't know. Fortunately, Sarah managed to escape from them with the help of a garbage man. Ben also mentioned that the person who killed his father was Leo. Sarah finally discovered who her husband's killer was. That night, she stayed at her mother's house to avoid Leo. However, suddenly, at her mother's house, Sarah encountered Leo, who was already inside. Leo asked about Tito's whereabouts, and Sarah finally said she would show him Tito's location in an hour. Leo then left. Sarah hurried to her house, got ready, and took Tito's head, which she had kept in her closet. She took it to Leo's bar. After entering the bar, Sarah was immediately directed by Leo's men to his office. In the office, Leo was waiting for her and asked about Tito again. Sarah told them to open the bag. Everyone was shocked to see that the bag contained Tito's head. Sarah took out Tito's head and showed it to Leo. Leo just laughed out loud at Sarah's boldness in brutally killing Tito. Sarah also asked Leo about her husband and the reason he killed him. Leo just laughed cynically. At that moment, Sarah pulled out the gun she had hidden earlier. A shootout ensued in the bar. Sarah managed to shoot Leo and his henchmen until they were critically injured. Leo then explained his reason for killing Stephen Collins, Sarah's husband. The reason was that her husband was always meddling in Leo's drug business, which made Leo angry and led to him killing Stephen. After hearing this, Sarah immediately shot Leo to death and killed the injured henchmen by hitting their heads with a hammer. After everything was settled, Sarah took the CCTV recordings from the bar to ensure her actions were not discovered by anyone. Sarah then left the bar. The police also found Tito's dismembered body parts and stated they could not find the perpetrators of Tito, Leo, and his henchmen's murders. They concluded that the murders were due to personal gang conflicts. The film ends. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe, because by subscribing you have supported me to make better videos. See you in the next video.